Hey Clashes, super witches with the fireball are currently everywhere, but I have a lot of times attacks like this, where the fireball is going into nothing because I'm reacting way too slow to a troll Tesla, but in the end I'm still 3-starring. So what is the problem currently? Is it the fireball? Well, I have swag that, so the fireball is in that case not the issue. Is it the super witches? Well, could be they're quite strong, or is it this druid troop which is just keeping every tanky troop alive? So I thought, well, I will just switch things up. I will use not the fireball, but instead I will use 2 aura. And the cool thing about this really is that both of them are giving bonus damage to my warden, which means warden walks are becoming incredibly quick. So what I'm doing instead now is doing a warden walk to replace the fireball and make it, well, more consistent. And because the super witches are a little bit too slow, I'm adding bowlers to this army. As well, because we're doing a warden walk, we need some healers. That's like the thing. And healers and druids are typically not that great together because they have a different healing rate. But with this one, I think it's fine because we're using the healers mainly for the warden walk and the druids they're mainly for the core. So I thought, let's give it a try. And I found this strategy is insane. Okay, we're actually starting things off with a base style, which typically is really good for the fireball. And it's typically one of the worst if you're doing a classic warden walk, because those invisibility towers can really mess up your pathing. So let's take a look if even one of the worst setups can be easily beaten and taken down with this strategy. The cool thing about this is since we're using 2 times those auras, it's so much passive DPS increase. It's kind of crazy how quickly you can go through those defenses, and that's what we're taking advantage of. You can just warden walk quite a bit. We're warden walking straight into that invisibility tower. The reason for that is since the warden has such a big range, you can really easily just switch targets and go for the next one. Raise this up to make sure there's even more damage. Be careful that your warden is not going down. If you're having a couple of too many hit points losses on the warden, just use the ability. It's kind of crazy, right? With a double aura, the only thing the ability pop is doing is it's recovering a couple of hit points. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's kind of crazy. And at this point, we're doing an entire charge. That's the reason why we're playing super bowlers and not the super witches. The reason for that really is that, well, super bowlers are just way quicker than super witches. So we can take down the entire compartment, just make sure that the warden is not going down. But that should be completely fine. As soon as that thing is going down, we're going to deploy the bowlers itself. And you see already, we have used a lot of our time to get this done, but that should be completely fine. Now, let's add the queen, add the king, siege barrack. Let's add those right here. Nice wall break into the core. And this already looks solid. The king sadly is not going in, but that's fine. Make sure that you're adding the droids to keep those bowlers alive. That's like one of the game changers, right? I mean, that's the obvious thing. You can wall break here already. Oh, we could just use the poison right here. Let's do another wall break into the core. Working amazingly for us right now. Then Queen King should go into that compartment. Wall break is happening, so we can get the town hall slowly but surely. Let's add the next 2 droids. King is walking around the outside. Queen is actually charging into that base right there, which is fine. Let's just use the rage here for our bowlers. And we're going to use the jump right next to it. We still have the king ability. And this looks completely fine, completely wrecked. We could even possibly swag the Royal Gem ability at this point. As I said, this strategy is really crazy. The first time when I thought about it, and I had, as you have seen in the beginning, I have had so many fireball attacks recently. Oh, we might have to use the Royal Gem just for time. I had so many fireball attacks recently, which just, well, I just messed up the fireball. And I still 3-star. So that's where I was start thinking then about, why do I keep 3-starring? Is it because fireball is OP? Not really. I got a Tesla, right? So that's not really the problem. Is it then maybe the super witches? Super witches, yeah, they're powerful, but is it really them being too strong? But the droids, I think the droids are the biggest thing in this strategy. In many ground strategies, they're keeping troops alive through everything, especially if they're tanky. And that's kind of the thing what we're trying to create. We're trying to create with the super bowlers and the life gem an insanely tanky troop with a lot of base HP, and then on top of that, another 900 hit points just because of the live aura, which is just so good. And with those druids, they're just not going down. And that's the crazy thing. And that's where the strategy is then just like coming in clutch, because it's hard to be baited. It's working with the druids as well. It's as well quicker with the base troop. And, well, let's just keep trying, and I will keep showing you why I think it's such an incredible strong strategy. Okay, this time around, we could just do a nice and quick warden walk. Obviously, we could do the same with the fireball, but then it's always a certain risk of things getting baited with maybe Testa and everything. But with this combination, we're just going for the safe corner and clearing out everything, and then we have this aura of the life gem over the entire attack. So let's just do exactly that. Let's start things off with that warden walk from the top side. One test room, because remember, people like to put black mines at corners of bases, because that's typically where people are using their, well, healer puppet, for example, and such things. So that's always something you have to keep in mind. I think we're going to use some minions to funnel already, so our troops are getting pushed into the middle of this base. And I think we can already use like a rage or something in just a second to multiply even more the damage of those auras of the warden, to make sure that we take down this corner of the base even quicker, because time is typically not an issue with those super bowlers, but still we do not want to like stretch this too much, right? So that's something we're having in mind here. We can already funnel with the building right here, which is going to be later for important for the later stages. But so far so good. Now the wall break here, queen in here with that right there. Nice golem, bowlers, king. That was a black mine. Let's do the testo now here. And now the first druids, because remember, those druids are here to make sure that they are keeping our troops alive. Because healers are great and everything, but typically they're struggling with those cores because they can't keep up with the healing. And this is now where everything else comes in. Now we can do one wall break here to get everything back together. Let's do 2 more druids to really keep everything alive. Let's do another rage. And so far this looks really amazing for us. We can... we already took down the core with those bounces. Queen looking like this. We can use the earthquake boots right here and then jump our troops into the core. Bowlers are just going crazy, and that's like what I'm talking about. If you're adding druids and turn a troop really tanky with, for example, a life gem, with pretty much anything, they are becoming unkillable with those druids together. The synergy is just insane. Let's just freeze this, and at this point you can see already we can just whack the Royal Champion. It is just so strong. It is... Yeah, I mean, right now, druids are probably the strongest troop in the game. Kind of like what the Root Rider were in the first place in the beginning. But they are still so strong even after the nerfs. And I think you can really tell that with those strategies. So Super Bowlers work great with them. Even though I typically don't recommend healers with druids together because they have a different healing ratio. For this one, it is needed because you need something for the Warden Walk, which are healers. And typically 3 to 4 healers are like a sweet spot. And then you want to have as well some druids. I think you can go with 3 healers as well. I'm still like playing around with the strategy. Let me know how you would maybe do adjustments. But let's just do another attack and see if we can swag the Royal Champion yet again. Okay, we have our next base. What can we do on this one? I think we're just going to smash into this big compartment, which is typically a nightmare for bowlers, and they're going down really quick. But as I said, with this specific warden equipment combination, I think it should, like, they should stay alive for quite some time. So that's what we're going to do. Warden walk right here, obviously, with those healers. And then we're going to enter in here. We don't need a lock launcher or anything. The Invis Tower should be triggered early by the bowler bounces. That's another thing why I like the bowlers, because they're not as annoying to play versus some Invis Tower based setups. And I think then we can use the Siege Barrack again. Another thing which I like about the strategy, you can use as well really nicely the Flame Finger. But at this point I just got too lazy to deploy it because the Siege Barrack is just so nice. Like, wait, other way around. The Flame Flinger is like too complicated and I got lazy. That's why I'm playing the Siege Barrack. That's what I tried to say. But as soon as those the air defense is gone, we can play the Bowler Push. So let's just wait for the air defense to go down again. We can take our time, and the Warden's just so quick with cleaning everything up already. Now the Bowlers. Queen for the funneling. Getting wall break in here. Then we can have this one. Because the wall break is open. We're adding the droids, as I said. And the siege barrack right here. Let's add all 3. Let's raise things up to really make sure that the troops are staying alive for some time. Poison here as well. And this base is just gone already at this point. It's just crazy. Take a look at that. The poison tower activating way too early. Queen ability next to droids. And those bowlers, they just can't die. And if like a bowler is splitting, just try to turn it invisible. Except if you're me, then you're missing the invisibility, but still it's fine. Just use this. And, well, the warn ability is just to recover a couple of hit points. Not really doing anything else, so don't get confused by that. It's pretty much that if the warden takes some damage, you can use the ability because it's recovering a little bit of his hit points. And again, we have so many spells left over. The Roy Champ ability not used. This strategy is really crazy. Really, give it a try. If you don't have the Fireball maxed or even a little bit upgraded, this is the way to go for sure. It is currently, I guess, really one of the strongest strategies for ground. I could really see this overtaking the Super Witches just because it is less risky and it's way harder to be baited. And if you don't play in hard mode, it is even just super safe that your super bowlers are staying alive. You can give it a try if you want to. The strategy link is always down below. Let me know what you think about it. I think it surprised me really how strong this combination is with the Eternal Tome being nerfed. The Fireball, obviously not everyone having access to it. And on top of that, you can bait it with those Tesla on the outside. It's not easy, don't get me wrong, but it can happen. And, well, then just use double aura, because that one, you can't bait it really. Well, give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you guys back tomorrow for the next one. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.